Hi, I'm Chad. Welcome to DIY Baron. Today we're going to be doing what I call a one board build, where I take this standard framing 2x6 and turn it into something awesome.
For this project, I'm going to be building a bar stool. And this bar stool was inspired by this one on Anna White's website. I don't particularly like the finish on it, but I do like the style, so this is what we're going to be building. And so to start off with, I started in SketchUp, and my goal was to take that single 2x6 and turn it into this bar stool. And so to find out whether or not it was possible, I laid out the size of a 2x6 and then started extruding my different cuts, and found that I could definitely rip down that 2x6 and have the lumber needed to create this bar stool. So I printed this out and used it as my cut list when I started the project. The first thing I did was to measure out my lengths on the 2x6 and then cut them down. That way I had smaller pieces that were easier to rip down on the table saw. I would reference my drawing just to make sure I was cutting the right lengths. Once I had the 2x6 cut down, I started ripping it. First, I cut the legs off the 2x6. I used each side as the legs because they already have the rounded corners, and so it works well for the legs of the bar stool. Next, I ripped down what was left. I ripped that in half, and that became my 1x3s that I used as the stretchers for the seat and for the seat back. Next, I started cutting everything down to size. I clamped stop blocks to the chop saw to make measuring and cutting the pieces easier. Once I had all my pieces cut, then it was time to start drilling the pocket holes. I would make marks on my pieces just so that I had a reference on where I wanted the pocket holes to go. These weren't precise, but kept me from making a mistake and drilling a pocket hole too close to the edge. After all the pocket holes were drilled, it was time to start assembling. First, I assembled the back. I used the front leg as a reference for where the first stretcher for the seat would go. This way, instead of just measuring the length, I used the actual leg that would be in place so that hopefully my four legs sit evenly on the ground. Anyone that's built a table or a seat before knows that sometimes it can be a bit of a challenge to make sure that all your legs are level. I continued the same process, assembled the back, the stretchers for the front legs, and then the stretchers that go along the bottom to provide additional support for the legs. And there you go, the bar stool has been assembled. The next step was to cut out the pieces for the spindles on the seat back. I cut those out and then drilled pocket holes to attach them. Just one pocket hole in each end. For placing them, I measured where I wanted them to start and end. The total distance between the legs is 15 inches, and the distance that the spindles will cover is 10 inches. So I measured 2.5 inches in on either side. Then I connected them with the pocket holes, used a spacer, and tap them in. Now the bar stool has been fully assembled, it's time to start working on the seat. Now the 2x6 that I was using wasn't a full 8 feet, so I didn't have enough to make the seat out of the 2x6. So I used some other 1x3 that I had to make the seat. First I cut out all the links, and then I drilled 3 pocket holes evenly spaced in order to connect them together. To connect each piece, I glued and then clamped them together before screwing them together through the pocket holes. I repeated this process for each slat of the seat. After fully assembling the seat, I rounded over the corners on the top on the router table. Afterwards, I sanded it with some 220 grit sandpaper. I did this both on the front and on the back. The next step was to create the corner supports that go below the seat stretchers. I freehand cut out the first one and I used it as a template for the rest of them. I cut these out on this saw called a blade runner. Now I don't have a bandsaw, so this was the best thing that I had available. It's basically an inverted jigsaw, and so it does all right, but it has a lot of vibration and it cuts pretty slow, but it was able to do the job. The next step was to connect these corners, and I did that by gluing them and then tacking them in place with some 2-inch brad nails. Once they're tacked in place, I clamped them and let the glue dry. The last step was to put in these corner pieces that I used to attach a seat. I attached the seat with pocket holes and I didn't glue it down so that in case the seat gets ruined sometime in the future with my 2 little boys, I could just take it off and either refinish it or build a new one. And there you have it, a fully assembled bar stool that costs less than $10. In the next video, I'll show you how I finish the bar stool. If you like this project, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more project videos. Thanks for watching.